Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7. So we are just over a week away from The Flash being back on our screens with its 7th season, which of course is very exciting, and also it's a bit unbelievable. It feels like we've been waiting 27 years for it to come back. Let's just hope for some reason the CW network, wherever they broadcast from, doesn't explode and then not allow it to air, because honestly that wouldn't be too surprising at this stage, but anyway. But yeah, as we head into the beginning of another season with our powers in Central City, we of course get various promo materials highlighting or teasing what is to come, whether it's in the next few episodes or maybe for a long way down the track. But in this case, it's for the short term. So recently we got some stuff for episode 1, including trailers and promo images, which revealed a number of cool things that had people talking going, what's going on there? But in this video, we'll be going over some new promo material that highlights some upgrades in the Flash as a superpowered being that many would say is a long time coming, but fits in with what has just happened or will happen to the character on the show. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your various opinions, thoughts, theories, all of that in the comments section down below, especially with the big thing that we talk about in this video. Very curious to hear what you guys have to say about that, whether you think, you think about it in a positive way, a negative way, or just an intriguing way. I'm always curious, and of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and this gets you excited, why not drop a like on it to show your support for the channel and just the video in general. So the CW recently released the synopsis or description for episode 2 of season 7, which is otherwise entitled The Speed of Thought. As I've said previously in other videos, the first 5 episodes were already revealed a while ago, so this episode title isn't news, but the episode title does fit in with the big talking point. But anyway, we will read out the synopsis and then break it down, and specifically break down and explain one part of it, as it could be big for the show going forward. When Barry suddenly gains the power of speed thinking, he attempts to use his new gift to save Iris. While Barry is thrilled with his new power, Cisco is hesitant to trust it. Meanwhile, Eva must face a shattering truth. So first up in the synopsis we have when Barry suddenly gains the power of speed thinking. And yes, some of you might be thinking, well, hold on, Pagey mate. He is the Flash. Shouldn't he always be able to think fast? We've seen him read books quickly and all of that. And yes, I can understand the confusion there. And I saw a lot of people confused on Twitter. When I posted the synopsis on Twitter, people were confused. Well, hold on, shouldn't he already have that? We've seen him do fast, read a book fast and everything like that. But there is a difference between speed thinking the ability and just doing something fast, like reading a book. So of course, let's break it down, at least to the best of my ability, and hopefully not get too confusing and muddled. But as per usual, if you do get confused and you want to ask a question about it, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll try to get back to you. So in the comics, speed thinking is a thing. It's not a thing just created for the show, it's a thing in the comics as well. I think it was introduced in the New 52 from memory, so not long ago, and it does allow Barry to tap into the Speed Force with his brain, and it prevents congestion of large amount of information that usually would occur due to the limits of us as humans. Like if you go down, you can't read an entire textbook and just remember it. It doesn't happen. Barry couldn't do that. Even if he read a book really fast, he forgot that information later on. He could only hold that quick amount of information for a short amount of time. But with speed thinking, Barry can think exponentially faster than any normal human and possesses superhuman mental processing, which allows him to remember it as well as other things. An example of this in the comics was when he managed to keep track of and process all of a security room's computers in order to watch a total of 400 people. So, if you've been in a security room, you have all those different monitors, Barry was able to process all that really quickly, which he wouldn't have been able to do without the speed thinking. Also, with the speed thinking ability, Barry's mind moves so fast that he is heavily resistant to whether it's mind control, as well as he possesses some resistance to psychic attacks. He can still be attacked by it, but because obviously some of people's abilities in the, you can't have a villain there against the Flash if, the ability of the villain doesn't work. So psychic attacks sort of work in some cases, but Barry can resist it in some way depending on how powerful they are. But mind control is something else. Now, psychic attacks, it's like the resistance there is interesting because it looks like in season 7 of the Flash there is going to be a psychic based villain, and it will be interesting to see if the speed thinking improves where Barry can resist it, or maybe he can resist it in certain ways compared to other people, but he's still affected by it. Obviously, the show can translate it whatever way they want and include or exclude certain aspects. It's for us to wait and find out. Now, by using speed thinking and tapping into the speed force with his brain, Barry does have the ability to tactically assess and predict the various possible and probable outcomes of pretty much any given situation. He does this by playing like advanced examinations within his brain, and he's able to simulate various sequences and the different causes, effects, and outcomes at a very, very fast rate. But here's a cool thing: Barry can actually use the speed thinking and what's going on with him to send his consciousness into the speed force to check other timelines as well. So think about that. If they did on the show, that'd be pretty insane. I guess the big thing with this is like, is this the Halo type thing that we saw in the DC fandom trailer for season 7? Is this the speed thinking sort of like connecting to Barry? And the question there is like, maybe, I mean, it's on his head. It's something weird that we've never seen before. So it's logical that it would be speed thinking, and maybe it's towards the end of the episode, but we'll have to wait and see. Like, it doesn't say that like Barry gets the speed thinking in this episode. It seems like maybe he gets it maybe in episode 1, and this episode explores it more. But one thing is that, could this lead to plot holes very similar to something like Enter Flash Time did? Enter Flash Time as an episode is cool, but it leads to many, many plot holes in regards to Barry's speed and going forward, and we still question it to this day. Like, was the cool episode worth all the plot holes? And the answer is probably no. So with this, it'll be interesting to see if it does lead to that, or they could use like a subverted version of speed thinking, if you want to call it, to suit what they want to use it for on the show, and not allow some of the more overpowered aspects, which would then be questioned later if Barry did not use them or they weren't addressed or anything like that. But I mean, Barry being able to send his like consciousness into the speed force to check other timelines, and potentially even just, other Earths in the multiverse as well when they want to do that, that'd be pretty cool to see. I don't think I'd be the only one thinking that. But anyway, next up in the synopsis we have, he attempts to use his new gift to save Iris. Now, this could be very interesting and makes you wonder whether using speed thinking in regards to saving Iris is maybe tapping into something in order to see within the Mirrorverse itself and maybe where Iris is, as well as potentially playing out all the various outcomes in his head through this new ability like that I described before. Almost like a Doctor Strange moment in Infinity War, but without the weird head shaking that Doctor Strange was doing. I don't think I'd like to see the Flash do that. You would have to assume that this is the episode that Iris finally gets out of the Mirrorverse, as it does seem that episode 3 is the the quote-unquote finale for the Mirror Master arc, and just like wrapping up what was meant to be at the end of season 6 before moving on with the proper season 7 story in episode 4 and beyond, pretty much. But I guess we will have a better idea as to what's going on specifically in regards to that once we get to watch episode 1 in just over a week from now. But next up in the synopsis we have, while Barry is thrilled with his new power, Cisco is hesitant to trust it. Now, this is pretty interesting, and I wonder if this is due to maybe whatever happens in episode 1 with all the Speed Force stuff, because based off Barry getting a new ability of speed thinking in this episode, it suggests that Barry gets his speed back in episode 1. But the question around that is, well, how? How does he do it? Is it the new Speed Force? Does he repair the old Speed Force? Is the old Speed Force repaired in suspicious ways that Barry may have been desperate, to do? And maybe he doesn't really explain it too well, and then like Cisco and maybe others are suspicious themselves about exactly what went on. Cisco appears to not be in episode 1 at all, because he wasn't meant to be in episode 20 of season 6. So I don't know if he maybe shows up at the end of episode 1, or in episode 2 he shows up and all of a sudden Barry's got this new ability and it's just like, well, where did this come from? I'm a bit suspicious about it. Like, Cisco has never shied away from expressing his opinion in regards to things being risky or questionable, but they never really feel out of place. Cisco usually has a valid reason, even though he isn't always right at the end of the day, to like question what's going on. Could be the fact that Barry has had these powers for years and years, and it is just now that he finds this new thing, this like potentially new overpowered ability, which logically just doesn't happen out of the blue all of a sudden. The circumstances could be understandably suspicious, so let's see how it plays out. I'm just hoping it doesn't turn into any like sort of squabbling, because that's just annoying when that happens. And then finally, to finish off the synopsis for episode 2, we have, meanwhile, Eva must face a shattering truth. Now, I think there's a bit of a play on words going in here with the word of shattering, because get it? Mirror Master, mirrors, shattering. Did I actually have to explain that? I don't know. But anyway, assuming that episode 3, the following episode, is the finale, if you want to call it, for the Eva / Mirror Master arc, you would have to think that this is a big moment in her story. Maybe that there is something wrong with her. As we saw at the end of season 6, like once she got out of the mirrorverse, mirror world, whatever you call it, and was in the real world, she had to be in that suit by the looks of it to remain like sane or intact in the normal world due to her long exposure within the mirrorverse. We also saw her in that like capsule thing as well, which might have to be used as well still alongside the suit. Maybe she isn't able to, figure out a way to permanently fix herself, and then maybe has to move on to more drastic measures, which could play out in episode 3 or the finale of her story. But if Eva is struggling with that, like we saw before, I wonder what that means for Iris once she gets out. Like we've seen Iris sort of get more integrated with the mirror world or mirrorverse, so you have to think if she gets out, she'll be struggling, maybe not to the same extent because she wasn't in there as long, but in a similar way. So that'll be very, very interesting to see. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you dropped a like and it shows support, and if you enjoyed it, all of that. And of course, if you want to leave all your various opinions, thoughts, theories and stuff, let me know them in the comments section down below. I'm always curious. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.